quivering. Yes, it is, she said before turning back to the board and rolling her eyes. Well done. Chapter 2. Wow, look at the sky, Alice-Miranda exclaimed as she and her friends reached the end of Rosebud Lane. It was a wash of pinks and blues. It's so pretty, Chessie gushed. She raised her right hand in the air and fanned it about as if she was trying to capture the scene on an invisible canvas. Like a painting by Turner or Constable. The girls had recently attended an exhibition featuring works by both artists. The excursion had proved particularly inspiring for Chessie, who had been sketching almost non-stop since. Her work had caught their art teacher, Miss Tweedle's eye, prompting the woman to suggest that Chessie develop something for the village art show. Jacinta twisted her long ponytail around her finger. I like to think of this time of year as Goldilocks weather. Not too hot, not too cold, but just right. That's very literary of you, Jacinta, Millie said, pushing her glasses up the bridge of her nose. And I must say I'd rather be reading fairy tales than that awful book Mrs. Reeves set before she left. I prefer summertime when I can spend all day by the pool, Sloane said. Except that when we're at home in Barcelona, Mother orders me to fetch her drinks and snacks and rub her shoulders with sunscreen. She treats me like a slave, although I do love to tease her about all those giant poisonous skinks. Skinks aren't poisonous, are they? Chessie said, wrinkling her nose. Of course not, but my mother doesn't know that, Sloane replied with a cheeky grin. Whenever one appears, she hot-foots it inside, and I get a break. Poor September, Jacinta said, shaking her head. Don't you think that's a bit mean? Sloane raised an eyebrow. You have met my mother, haven't you? For a long time, Mean was her middle name, closely followed by vain, selfish, and stupid, but I suppose she has her good traits too. Sloane paused for a moment, then shrugged. It's hard to remember what they are sometimes. Nonsense, Alice-Miranda chided. It's true your mother has made some interesting choices, but you and Sepp have helped her on the straight and narrow. She was a wonderful chaperone on our trip to China. Chessie sighed wistfully. I wish I'd been there with you all. You've had the most amazing adventures together. Trust me, you've come at the best time, Jacinta nudged the girl playfully. You wouldn't have wanted to know my mother or Sloane's back then. She's right, Sloane nodded. We have plenty of time yet for our own escapades. Well, I think September and Ambrosia are fabulous, Alice-Miranda said. Sloane and Jacinta looked at each other and rolled their eyes. The small one is completely delusional, Sloane said. As always, Jacinta agreed. Which is exactly why we love you, the pair said in unison. They each wrapped an arm around Alice-Miranda's shoulders and gave her a squeeze. The 5 girls were on their way back to the boarding house after enjoying a long barbecue at Wisteria Cottage with Jacinta's mother, Ambrosia. The woman had also invited Lucas and Sepp to join them, but the lads had a cricket match against their arch-rivals, Shedstone College, miles away in the village of Upshed. Jacinta had been terribly disappointed, as she'd barely spent any time with Lucas this term. Now that she was in Year 8, school was always so busy, and weekends were just as tricky. Jacinta wondered if Miss Grimm and Professor Winterbottom had planned it that way. She and Lucas got to speak on the phone every Thursday evening, but it wasn't the same. Then again, she was a little worried that she wouldn't be able to resist kissing him if they spent time together in person, and that would likely land them both in big trouble. After their trip to Scotland, where they'd shared their very first sneaky smooch, they'd agreed to cool it for a while, at least until they were a bit older. Your mother is a great cook, Chessie said. That pear and walnut salad was delicious, and her chocolate cake was perfection. It still surprises me every time, Jacinta confessed. When I was younger, Mummy couldn't even make toast. Well, maybe she could, but she never did. She was too busy going to parties and getting herself photographed for Gloss and Goss, and worrying about whether her look was right now or last week. The girls giggled. Chessie couldn't imagine Ambrosia being like that at all. While there was no denying the woman had an uncanny knack for putting things together, from her clothing to the house decor, she clearly adored Jacinta and was a devoted mother. Alice-Miranda rested her head on Jacinta's shoulder. That was a lifetime ago, and look at her now. Your mother is an award-winning fashion journalist. She helps Mrs. Parker with the village show committee, and she's also become an expert gardener. I don't think she buys into any of that other nonsense these days.